viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. Got us a 2010 Jeep Wrangler. It's got the big 3.6 in it. It's here for some front axle joints. And also, this customer decided to go with some new front wheel bearings, which is fantastic because the bolts that hold them on are complete crust and they're not going to cooperate very well. So this is a good decision on their part. I did get all brand new bolts for it that hold the wheel bearings on. However, I won't have the wheel bearings till tomorrow morning first thing, but it's my last job for the day. Well, almost the last job for the day. Last job on this lift, so I can leave it here overnight. So I thought we could get started. I'm going to show you a different method because a lot of people have mentioned this in other U-joint videos, like, they use a press, they use a hammer, they use a cutting torch, they use, cut-off wheel, whatever the case may be. I think I've showed one on a 3/4 ton Dodge where I showed how we use the hydraulic press and how that works and the dangers associated with that. We definitely did one where we bashed the thing out with a hammer. I do not have an arbor press to show that, but in today's video, hopefully, I'll be able to show you how to do it with a cutting torch and also some of the dangers associated with that. And danger is my middle name. Not really. We'll take that off, then we have to pull the caliper off. As I mentioned, we are getting a new wheel bearing. It looks like somebody's already been here before because I see all these zip ties on the brake hose that hold the ABS wire on, which I thought was a little unusual. We will be getting a new wheel speed sensor with it, so I'm not really worried about how careful we are with it. As a matter of fact, we're not going to follow the wire up currently. We're just going to give it one of those. We're going to cut it, not to fear. Comes with a new one, and that'll keep us from chasing the wire for the time being. We're going to pull the caliper off. It looks like a relatively new brake job, newer. So we're going to see if we can't just push the caliper back a smidge. Now this is what we call flash rust, if you guys are seeing that, how it has that tinge. In our climate, you can park a car for 10 minutes and you'll come back out and your rotors will be flash rusted. They make an awful noise when you step on them for the first time. Oops, right in there, fella. So we'll take our caliper out. Now we're going to just hang that to the side and get right to the carnage. So that's what you guys came here for. Whoa, sugar! Ding dong. So our brake pad fell out. Usually they're rusted in place, so it's not a big deal. We're going to do that, and then we're going to do a little trick me ma taught me. Get yourself a salmon, or salmon, if you pronounce the L, colored rag, or light red as I call them. We're going to fold her up a couple, 2-3 times. We're going to stuff it down in between the brake pads. That way when we hang them, we don't have to worry about our pads falling out like they just did. We'll bring this over, put it right in the frame right there. Pull our rotor off. And this is where it tends to get ugly. We're going to not even attempt. Let me show you what the heads of these bolts look like. So it's these bolts right here, 12 point, usually take a 13 mil socket. Enhance. Whoa. And you can see how crusty they are. Here's what it's supposed to look like, which there isn't much meat to them to begin with. And I'll tell you in my experience, you hammer a socket on there, it's no beans, it just spins. And here's what the other side of the bolt looks like. You can see their threads are pretty much non-existent. Enhance. So, I guess that's it. Not trying to come up with excuses, just want to show you. Sorry about the furnace blowing down here, but it's like sub-zero outside. What my habit is to do is I take the old torch, old Victor over there, and we're just going to snip the wheel bearing. So we take the torch, let's pretend this is our torch head, and we just go psh, right there, and then psh, up there, and then psh, on the third one. And then at that point we can beat a socket on the bolts, and usually they'll come out at that point. If they don't, doesn't matter, we'll cut the heads off them, we'll get big nasty, heat the thing off and get moving. So this should be fun. You guys love fire. Safety third, we got that taken care of. And in the words of who? In the words of Jim Morrison, come on baby, light my fire. Try to set your world on fire. Well, it's hot in the old boot, man. There she goes. She's out now. See a hole in the sock. Okie dokie. That's that. See how good we did. Jim Morrison, right? He's the lead singer for the Doors. This is the end. The end, my friend. Son of a... Oh, here we go. I'm back. Now, I don't know how that spark got down in my tootsies, but don't even bother taking your boots off, fellas, because by the time you get it off, the fire's out. So beat a socket on there. Get us a little adapter. Yeah. And you can see that didn't even work. Jerk. Not a problem, Jeep. You don't scare me. Time for a minute. Alright, round two. Oh, fire in the hole. Come on, get out of here. Subaru's good for something. Use a sweeping action. And do not cut the knuckle. And the key is to just get in there and get the job done, okay? You sit in there and dilly-dally, next thing you know the knuckle's hot, then you're in big trouble. Who wants to try your luck on this side? Let's see if any of these ones come out. I doubt they will, but you never know. They better come out. We're gonna cut you out anyways. Place your bets. Negative. Get up on there. There, girl. Negative. You son of a who. I got cut all three of them freaking things. I don't care. You don't scare me. That Subaru catalytic converter heat shields cut down. Make fantastic little guards. Usually they make excellent guards for CV shafts because if you keep one on your cart, they're already this shape and stick it right over there. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't know if I can get you guys back there and I can show you how I cut these ones off, but I'm going to cut it off just like I cut the first ones off. I'll let the camera roll for this one. I'll turn it off for the third one because I got to be here and you want to be there. Well, frankly, only one of us can be here. Get him, Victor. Alright, straighten out the wheel first. Safety glasses, ear muffs. If you ever see me break out those two things, stand back. Oh yeah, big nasty. Get a little hammer. Winner, winner. I can't hear crap, can't see crap. There we go, now we're good. Look at that. Never touched the dust shield, so we're good in that regards. And then just to show you how we nicked them like that. So hopefully it was to loosen the bolts, but it didn't, didn't relieve enough tension. I see one of them here. That one came loose, but of course I have to round on it with big nasty. So that's that. Here's what we came here for. There she is. So we use old Dave. I'm gonna lose his virginity today. We're gonna do some beating on him. So we're gonna just clamp our axle in there just to hold it for us so we can come, out here on the business end, do our torching. Now, some of the dangers associated with torching, besides the obvious fire hazards from the pile of cardboard over on the forklift, is when you're cutting through the cross of the U-joint, besides, you could probably, cut your yoke if you're being willy-nilly, is when you start cutting through it, you get to the cross section where the grease fittings are, the grease holes that are machined in there, and you could have a small explosion, and typically it comes back at your face, and you get a hot grease facial. I don't know why it comes back at your face, but typically it always does. So be aware of that, and potentially, I guess if it's sealed tight enough, it could, explode. I haven't seen that happen. Did watch a ball joint explode one time though. Pretty bad situation there. Wasn't me though. So I guess that's one of the hazards. The beginning hazards. There's another hazard here as we get going where people typically tend to screw up during this process. Let's get Victor. Come on, Vic. We're gonna blaze through it. Come on, little fella. Beat up. A lot of mass. Torch is a tad on the small side for something this thick. There's that piece. Got to rotate the shaft. That's what she's doing. There we go. Turn that a little bit. And then we just got to cut that center section out. Where to go? That's what you always want to know. So if you don't know where it went, you're going to step on it. There it is, down on the floor. Kick over the water. So there's that. Smoking. Sometimes you can bang them a little bit and you'll get the, the centerpiece of the U-joint to come out. Not necessary, but, there's another one. Take that little guy off. Now that one's stuck. Now at this point, this is where you see people make big mistakes because it's out now. And it's, I think, our habit to want to, stick this down, get a punch. Let's say this is our punch. Always have a big mushroom head on your punch. Sit down, get a punch, whale the beans out of it to get the cap out. However, what will happen is you actually pinch these ears together. And this is why the cut and torch method is, sometimes not desirable. So two ways we could do this. First of all, before we cut it, we could have taking the clips off and beat the caps loose, and then, then we could stick it down and knock them out without fear of bending the ears in together. However, that kind of defeats the purpose of, cutting it with the torch, because obviously we'll want to save time. So, what you need to be able to do is hold just that ear of the U-joint while you hit just that cap out. This is not a good way to treat a vise, just a little FYI. But the way these jaws are designed, it does have a lip on it, however, still not a great idea. Oh, Dave, he's strong. So to do it like this, then there's no chance of bending the ears in. All right, little trick me Ma taught me. Come on, man up. There. There's that. Now they're out, and just gotta clean that up a little bit. We gotta do the same thing with the long shaft here. Now what do we got? We use the old Brooks box there. Should be using a Brooks hammer, don't you think? That. Turn her over once. drive it home. Bada bing, bada boom. I think I've said that twice now. I saw it on a movie the other day. Can't stop. Now before we get too wild, we'll use the old hole reamer. And I figured out, thanks to a viewer, how you guys do your double dong flapper. You take the emery cloth, you fold it in half, for what it's worth, I guess. We'll stick it on there. We'll wind her up, and now we've got a double flap flapper. We can go right in here. Give her a good polish. There's that one. This guy toasty. Oh yeah. It's not like blazing hot. Ain't gonna take you long to look at it though, I'll tell you that. That's what I always tell people. I do something stupid like, you know, cut something off with a torch, pick it up, and they're like, oh, was that hot? It's like, nope, didn't take me long to look at it. There we go. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna clean her up a little bit on old Roger over there. Gotta let it cool down. That's gonna take some time. Cold Napper U-joint. Brute Force, it says. SKF. Not a sponsor. So we're gonna open this up. These ones do have grease fittings in it. So we're going to take and pull the caps off. That one has the grease fitting in it. We're going to have to take that out. We don't want to smash out all the beans. Oh, what do you want to start with, fella? Guess it doesn't matter. We can put her in the long end first. Alright. Where's my block? Oh, there we go. Prop her up on the block. Oh, let's use old Brooksy here. Well, that one, she ain't even ever been used. Not after today, though. So we're gonna take, let me a rag. She's gonna poke through the other side. I'm being quite ginger with it. I know it's hard to demonstrate how hard you're hitting something. I mean, unless you're going full gorilla, which clearly I wasn't. Because you can also bend the ears at this point too. So be mindful of that. Whoa, 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 whoa. There goes my block of wood. Let's see, can we get one clip in? Should be able to. Knock it through a little bit more here. Let's use Baby Brooks. Come up out of there, little guy. Baby hammer. There's that clip. She's in. Knock that one out. Oops, whoa. Put the other clip on. Make sure she's through far enough. Nope, we gotta go through this or smidge more. Is that clip sitting flat? Apparently not. Yeah, I guess we'll go like this. Just set her on the edge of that hammer. Give her just a light tap. Now we can get that one on. That one is on. Now we're going to have to drive her back home the other way just a little bit. Okay, those ones are all good and happy. Tell you what, let's take this grease fitting out. Set that somewhere where we won't find it. Get the short side on here. A little grease on it, just because. Probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. Does it anyways. Let me get a socket. Take this one down this way. Get a clip in there now. Can't tell, I don't think so. That one just bouncing back on us. Make sure it's not up on the edge. Doesn't appear to be. Didn't notice when I was cutting that, you could watch the ears come in just a smidge. I don't 100% think so, right on that edge. I just like to make sure the clip fits before I tap it on, because you don't want to take the chance of, you know, spreading the clip. All right, not a big deal. I'll show you another trick Meemaw taught me. So we'll just hold the, all right, the caps do stick past the ears. So we're just gonna give it a little squeeze. That should hold it. And then we're gonna reach through here with a punch. Oops, can you guys see? Let me move you. So I'm holding it just on both caps. One clip is in. This ear is bent in just a teeny tiny bit, just enough where, well, actually just squeezing it in the vise gave it enough, never mind. However, it'd probably be advisable to, what I was gonna say is we come through here, this area with a punch, and we just tap that ear just a little bit, like right there, just enough to open it up. Because what we risk doing now is making our U-joint too tight. That's what we don't want. We'll find out here in about a second. So there's our clip. Let's make sure it's not down too far. Because if your U-joint's too tight, it's not going to last very long. Yeah, our clip is up on that edge just a little bit. There, oops. Oops, there we go. So now, we'll center up all our needles here. Whoa. And it should be nice and floppy like that if everything's happy. And it is. So we're good. Did that make sense to you guys, what I was saying there? So typically using the method that we did to get the caps out doesn't tighten the ears up. But just in case yours did, that's how you would resolve it. Where do we leave off, folks? It said tire delivery. Yay. I think we left off with putting the grease fitting in. I think we were happy with everything, and it moves nice and free. And we just got to put it back in. Now you can elect to put the little guard back on if you'd like. This one is quite heavily rusted underneath. Frankly, they're not needed. There is no seal typically on these, Dana front ends, or American axle, I don't know what that is in it. As a general rule, there is never a seal on the actual axle tube unless it's Ford or it's aftermarket. And this just sits on there, just kind of winging dirt. It doesn't really do much. So we got to clean off the seal side of it, because you don't want to go sticking that back in the inner seal and have schmutz all over it. So we'll clean that off. But before we stick this in, we do need to clean up the knuckle. And like I say, I'm not going to have the wheel bearings till tomorrow anyways. So with that being said, folks, whatever was just said last, we're going to leave it at that. No sense in really going any further. Probably going to pick up some tools here, sweep up a bit. Got some work to do over on the other side. A few cars over there. Might take and get this cleaned up, and that's just going to entail sanding disc, whizzy wheel around the hub and, in the middle like we typically do. And that's pretty much it. Slide the axle in. I don't know if you want to see part 2. Perhaps I will. I'll make a part 2 where we get the new hub and we slip it in there, find out where the wire for the wheel bearing goes, and get that plugged in and take it for a little shimmy around town. So if you want to make sure you see that video, go on down there, click subscribe, ring that bell. And I guess, I don't know. Just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.